Well, this camera mount's being a little bitch. And put that over there. Somewhere out of harm's way. All right, folks, welcome back. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. Let's take a look at something. This is the stuff that I normally use for basing my tanks, the thickness that I use. Do I have one that's already opened? If I don't, that's fine. I don't. Okay. Let's take a look at one of these. Hey, what's up, man? Out walking the dog, huh? I gotta be careful. That might actually have another connotation. Sounds like you know, something could be creepy in Britain. Let's look at the thickness of this. I read that coaster as Duck Dynasty. No, Jack Daniels. Duck Dynasty, they have a logo like that? No, I've never watched that. And I gotta actually see some people that look like that. I certainly don't want to do it on my own time. Okay, this is a little thinner. I may actually try to get. You're just in bed. Oh, I love it when you're in bed. You stay up late, my friend. If the situation was reversed, I wouldn't be on your channel because I suck about staying awake. I really am terrible about it, but I don't know. Is this still too thick? Maybe. I think I'm going to use this because I have it. If I go thinner than this, it could warp or something like that. But this is the same thickness I use for the tank, so there's some consistency there. Hey now, settle down. So, I got so excited about painting this. In retrospect, that didn't turn out how I wanted it to. And what I mean by that is, I got so excited about using the airbrush, which, by the way, everything I got for the airbrush worked phenomenal. I would have done the paint scheme that has blue on the side instead of having the sand go all the way to the bottom. So I'm trying to find things that, you know, I want to make-believe plain, but I don't want one that's super make-believe. So I did find one. Let's flip this around. Oh shit, there's a crooked spider on there. I gotta be careful with that. Let's see. There we go. We'll zoom this one. We'll remove the tail. Okay, this one that has the pattern that goes all the way to the bottom. See, most of them cut up here, they just have a little part that's showing from the side of the sand color, and then this is all the hellblau color, like the underneath. I don't know that I want the entire nose yellow. And it's not because I've already put the decal there. I have no problem doing that. So what I'm going to focus on today is I'm going to put a white band here. Yeah, I'll paint the nose yellow. I'll paint the nose yellow and I'll paint the tail yellow to give it some color. Okay. And some of you are probably wondering, well, if you're going to do that, why did you bother weathering it first? Because I didn't know how it was going to turn out. I didn't know what I wanted. It's not that big of a deal. All right, so, and because I want to hand paint a number, and I want it to be not like a color inside of another color. Ah, Snapdragon. It's a problem with the touch screen. I just clipped it. And now who knows where the fuck I am. Close that. I got advertising popped up. Okay, we're gonna do that band yellow. Nah, it doesn't look like it's. I'll tell you what, I'm making up my own fucking plane. That works for me. For this one. All right, so let's get our culprits out here. Let's get some titanium white craft paint. Now let's get rid of our jewelry. All right, let's get some titanium white out here. Okay, and when there's white, there's got to be black. Good Lord. Thank you. And let's get a little bit of water, which I'm sure is super dirty. I don't feel like changing it right now. And let's get a brush that's not too small, because we'd like to be done this week. Well, the problem with yellow is it's a color that I associate with the Eastern Front. As if you look a lot of Eastern Front planes, there's a lot of yellow. So let's start with it. Let's start off with a band. By the way, it was the right move to not connect the wings, because it's easier to get in here and do some of this stuff without the wings being in the way. You know, if the wings were on, I'm like this far away, kind of. You know, here I can get all up and personal. All right, so let's mix some black in here. And apparently this was a recognition symbol for all the German aircraft in North Africa. Supposedly tell them apart from the Italian ones. Which the secret is, don't shoot. If you need an air recognition symbol to tell them different from the Italians, how about don't shoot the Italian ones down either? I mean, they're supposed to be allies. Okay, so that's going to be in white. The number we're going to put on there is also in white. And I'm going to make it a single-digit number because that's less work for me. And we're not going to be able to do it with this brush. I always get freaking paint on me when I have those craft paint tops. Okay. And it's just going to be white as well. So let's use the same color. And I had a 4 in mind. Isn't that bad luck? What's the Chinese bad luck number, Marcus? Where the hell's my Marcus? 4, right? We're gonna do that. That's why it crashed. I can wing it. I know about what style it's gonna be in. So put it in the middle of this panel here. Hey, what is it you're doing? Howdy, folks. the same thing on this side. I don't want to be confronted by some plane nerd. I know a few. Well, that plane didn't have that kind of markings. Whatever, man. It's a make-believe plane. Just needs to be done in the spirit of it. We did do a short, straight section here. Flip back to the other side. And yes, we're going to bend the propeller, but that's towards the end. I'm surprised there's actually a fair amount. No, we got to use a bigger brush for that. There's actually a fair amount of crashed 109 model dioramas. I'm going to bring this all the way up. Yeah, if I had the wings on here, this would be a massive pain in the ass. Which the bad thing is, that means that walrus might be a pain. All right, now I like to water the paint a little bit. That way it's translucent in some places and not in others, so it doesn't look like it came out of the factory and, you know, painted perfectly. Why am I getting notifications? And yes, we're going to weather over this stripe and the number and so forth. So one thing I already like about painting planes is there's these panel lines on them. So it helps you like proportionally put things in places. You're gonna freehand stuff, you almost, it's like, you know, drawing in graph paper sort of thing. Now, put my glasses on. Put my glasses on so I can find myself. Yellow tail, huh? It's funny because this plane that has this markings doesn't have a yellow tail. I'll paint a yellow tail. How about a yellow tail but no yellow nose? Is there any examples of that? There's yellow nose but no yellow tails. Here's one. Okay, that's what we'll do. All right, we're going to use yellow, so let's... and the paint set came with a certain yellow. I don't give a shit about that. I'll make my own fucking yellow. What core color is this? English uniform? We'll use English uniform. We are going to paint the little half part here in yellow. You almost have like the bottom part there. All right, can we add one more coating of this in white? Let's rinse this out. All this detail just to wreck this thing. It's got to look believable, man. I got to believe in it too. English uniform. You know what? Nah, let's grab this. Let's grab this yellow. Let's use the official yellow. It's going to be way too watery. That's the only problem with this ammo MIG paint is it's very, very watery. It's made for airbrushing, not for hand painting. But what we're going to do is we're going to mix these other colors in and it'll end up being fine. I've done that before. Let's have to fight with this too much. Gold yellow LM8. All right. And take this big brush. Yeah, I call this a big brush. Mix some of this gold yellow in with it. We're going to paint the tail. Not even that noticeable right now. Now, if I was building an aircraft model per se, I'd probably follow one of the paint schemes, but I'm not doing that. This is an old model that has the wrong kind of details on it, and it's just going to be wrecked. Okay, let's take this. Let's add more of this yellow color. Actually, I think the underside of this is all this color. Let's do that. Let's paint the whole, not that it's really that noticeable. Go ahead and paint this underside right here, all in this yellow color. It's going to be my first well-painted plane model. Not going to start shining until we do the weathering. So we start doing the drippings, as I like to call them. Now I'm going to take a little bit of this, add a little bit of white to it. right, now I'm going to need to let this dry because I'm going to apply a wash over these areas that we just freshly painted. Now what I need to do is figure out, do I like how this looks? Step away from it so I can see what's going on. Well, it's definitely an improvement. It's definitely an improvement as far as giving it some other stuff on there to look at. I think I'm actually going to make the numbers a little bit thicker. These 4s. Marcus's lucky 4s. Okay, that one's good. Great, I'm touching the yellow. Well, this stuff dries quick. Let's fatten up this 4 so you can see this. You can see the number at a distance. Pendejo. See, that's okay. You come in on that name. Just don't come in with, Hitler as a name. I don't know what the 419 is. Is it one day before that day everybody likes to celebrate? Yeah, it better be relaxing or you're doing it wrong. There we go. That stands out a little bit more. And we're going to put a slight wash on that so those details pop. Now, nose cone, because it's that time. With this paint scheme, I'm aiming probably for a white nose cone. So it looks different. I could do half of it black, half of it white, but you find something that therapeutic. Yep. Yes, you do. It's always good. I'm going to do a white nose cone because it's going to stand out nicely. And it looks like it goes all the way to that other piece. All right, so we're going to yeah, this is my first plane that I've done since, since I was a chick kid. Probably since 1985? Something like that. What color is a propeller? I would just paint, I'm going to paint black. I'm going to paint black because I'd start with that anyways. Let's go ahead and paint the propeller black. Oh, I guess at some point I got to bend the propeller. Because this is going to be, an accident of some degree or another. I guess I should probably do that sooner rather than later. Crap. All right, here we go. Now I'm going to play with fire, literally. Let's go light a candle. I think I should still have the one here. I have a commandeered. Found it. I'll be right back. See if we can light ourselves on fire. Well, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to turn this fan off. Okay. Keep up the cool content. Thanks, man. Now, it's kind of nice to do a plane, to mix it up. Some of you guys may be plane people and not even know it. Use our, I've never done this before, so here we go. And that's the whole reason I'm doing this this is to beat trash this model. Here we go. Crap, well, that didn't work. Just wanted to blow up this. Yeah, just something bent like the propeller. Just bent a little bit. Okay, nothing crazy. We're not going to catch this thing on fire. It's hard to catch things on fire when I'm blowing out my own candle. Another reason not to use enamel paint, folks. It won't catch fire. Lacquer. Nothing toxic in here. I think that's all we need. So this is going to be, something like this on a stand. That sort of thing. All right, where are we going next? Paint the propeller? I guess we could do that. And we got this thing covered. We got that symbol that freaks bots out on the tail. The crooked spider. The ubiquitous crooked spider. Okay. Yeah, that looks good. That looks good. It doesn't need to be more bent than that. That's plenty bent. That's plenty bent. Let's go ahead and where's the tone that I used? No, not light tone. Light tone will get its chance. Strong tone. And we're just focused on those areas we just painted. We don't want to brush this too small. How about something like this? Yeah, tone that down tremendously. And we're going to do the same thing with a 4. And the same thing with the yellow down here. It's a basic model, but I didn't want to get a really nice model and then do this for the first time. I mean, it's relatively low risk because I'm pretty confident in most of the things that I do. I'm pretty confident. Like this stuff. Yeah. Let's go ahead and get this brush on here. Let's go back to what we were doing with the black. What really discourages me if I spend too much time cogitating about, well, what if this doesn't turn out well? Well, what if this is, just start doing it. That's why I didn't put the markings. I didn't know what color I was doing the markings and I felt like painting. So I started painting. I'm going to paint all this black, even if we come in here and add white to it. And I got another plane. If this is a hit, I got another plane that I plan on doing this with. And that's a Henschel HS 129. That's why I got it. But I'd rather practice on this one because this one's smaller. And the thing is these objectives that don't have anything. I mean, this is just something just sitting around the desert. It's scatter terrain, as some people call it. It doesn't hurt anything just having it there. Could like some line of sight against infantry. Infantry are cowering around it. Keeps it from being a featureless board. Now we're still going to weather this. This one fall down. There we go. All right. You got these machine guns that are up here on the nose that fire through the propeller. All right, we already did the ones in the wings. Not worried about the cockpit. That's the least of my worries. Now, I didn't rip this off of the sprue, the clear sprue. It came this way. Now, I don't want this closed. The front part actually stays with it, and so does the back. It's actually this other glass that cracks open. So I'd like to make it with it opened like somebody came out of it. And I think I got the skills to do that. And I'm going to actually paint more supports on this than this thing has, because this is missing some details on there. All right, so I like that screen. We're going to leave that one open. That one's good for the cockpits. So we're going to look at this ME109. I can't see this keyboard. ME109 open cockpit. Images. Okay, here's a hyperscale model. All right. So it opens this way. Let's fuck with this or regret doing it. Didn't I just say I don't care about the cockpit? I'm working on the cockpit. Don't listen to me. I don't. All right. The main thing I don't want is I don't want to botch the part that is going to stay. All right, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to score this. How new is this one? Very, okay. We're going to score this carefully. This is unfortunately pretty slippery. And I'm going to keep the supports on the side that's staying. The hardest thing about doing this is finding somewhere to grip it. Actually doing the work, seeing what you're doing, that's not difficult. The advantages of being nearsighted. I could have done this several years ago with contacts in also. Might as well score it from both sides. Could probably buy this aftermarket open. I'm not interested in that. This was super cheap. That's why we're doing it, because it's super cheap. Okay, we've gotten through. We've cut through that. All right, now we got to be careful. Let's score this one as well. Basically doing a controlled break. You know, it'd be easier to do if I didn't care about keeping this glass clear, but I want to keep it clear. If I can avoid it, not trashing that. Oh shit, no wonder. Yeah, the problem here is like holding it. Okay, we cut there. Now we just have this top corner to do. Let's not pull anything apart. All right. So here's the front piece of glass. It's going to stay on there. And we're going to glue that with Elmer's. Okay. Let's grab a little bit of sandpaper. One that's not very abrasive. I know how to do this, I've just never done it before. And then painting the supports on this is child's play. That's easy. Okay. Now, this, same thing on the back. I wish it didn't have this little thing right here, this little kind of a burr. If it wasn't clear, this would be really hard to do. You would be able to find exactly the same spot on the other side, but this, you can see the scoring from one side to the other. If I had a little jeweler's saw, if I had this like a saw, that would be really handy. I didn't like that sound. I'm going to switch back. Okay, it's starting to move. As Kool-Aid Man would say, oh yeah! Now what we're going to do is, since we basically cut along one of the frames, I don't want to split the frame and cut it in the middle. I cut along one of the frames. I'm going to paint end part of the frame on here. Oh, we're back to this shit again. It was right here. There it is. And now what we'll do is we'll end up, yeah, we got to paint the cockpit and stuff like that, but we're going to end up having this like here. And we're going to have the front, because this is kind of like, this is like a believable part of the plane. Have the front like that, and then this cockpit opens like so, off to the side. So all that is going to be in place. Excellent. Okay, let's see how this, yeah, we're good there. All right, let me check on one thing and I'll be right back. All right, so it's getting close to quitting time, but I'm not ready to quit yet. Let's set ourselves in a position when he can hit the ground running tomorrow morning. Oh, you know what I need to use? Are these handy? They should be. I mean, all my stuff should be right here. Problem is, I don't know what the hell these things look like. Apparently, I don't know what the hell they look like. Those little tweezers that stay compressed. And they don't have a shitload of pressure. And I don't need them to have a shitload of pressure. And they're not here. And here they are. Wow, they don't look anything like I was expecting them to. Yeah, these things. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to take these pieces and paint them. Or at least begin to paint the frame. Now, they're going to be the same color as the side of this plane, which means we're going to end up with this. And just so they pop, Sandgelb, RLM 79. And the mix-in we're going to use, let's actually use black as the mix-in. I don't want to use a brush that's too small either. Oh, wrong one, it's this one. Because I want it to be relatively dark to be able to pop it out. Now, I'm going to look at my drawing up here of my 109 on this page. All right, and we can see, oh, that was the wrong one. Here we go. These are all E's, right? Yep. Okay, we can see that let's work the front backwards. We can see that we have a frame. Shit, I might even go pure. Let me go darker than that. We need something to cover this. It's going to go like that. Okay. And then the frame goes up. I'd even consider painting it from the inside, but then it means the outside of this thing's going to be glossy. And so you've got something that looks like that. Do same on this other side. This is the easy part for me. The hard part was actually to cut that window. I'd never done that before. I'm gonna need to add more paint to that. This is gonna look freaking great. It's gonna look freaking great. Now, I'm gonna have to skip over this spot because I gotta grab this somewhere. So I'm gonna let this dry the way this is. And we're gonna have to let for the just this is gonna be a gentle process for sure. See if I can get away with doing this. Ratburger, welcome in. Gonna grab this side. Paint the end. All right, so we've got this cockpit window that's framed by all this metal. And yeah, we're going to go a little lighter on the color of the metal. But that's like one of the last things you have to glue on there, because if you clear coat this with that, it's going to frost those windows. I can tell you that already. Now, this big opening is going to be this color on the inside. And then it's going to have. Here we actually don't have a guide because the whole frame's on the other side. So we're just not going to make it very thick. And let's go ahead and grab this side too. Okay, we have that end painted. Let's come back over here to do this one, and then we'll switch sides. This is actually the part I enjoy doing. It's actually would be harder to use if you use a brush too small. All right, so I'm going to drop this. I'm going to turn it around, pick it up from the other end. So yes, I'm making this plane damaged, but it's not going to be that damaged, right? Like it made some kind of an emergency landing. It can't take off under its own power from where it's at. The pilot survived. And that's the story on this thing. Now, as Messerschmitt, a very tight coffin. A 109 is a very, I couldn't fit in one. I'd be like all up in myself. They're very narrow. Okay, so we've got this center window piece. Am I a reenactor? I am not. Well, this is my reenacting version. I do not reenact. I don't want to wear wool in Florida. That would be a bad combination. No, but seriously, I mean, this is, we try to paint things accurately so that you have an idea of what it would look like in real life. But no, not in the traditional sense of what you think a reenactor is. I'm not a reenactor. That doesn't sound like a lot of fun. I went to a reenactment. I went to a World War II reenactment for the first time about a month ago. Shot a video of it. It's on my channel here. It's called Volusia Valor Days. Got working tanks and everything. And I talked to a few folks who are reenactors on there. at a mock battle. The mock battle definitely needed a director. It was a bit a fallacy. They had a German motorcycle in the middle of a battlefield for like 15 minutes and never got knocked out. It's like, man, you got some Mr. Magoo type shooters. You'd have to do that to have that. Let's do the end. I'm not going to do the cross piece on this. I'm going to have to do some research, look for some other pieces on there to make sure that I get it in the right place. It's like 3/4 of the way up. Let's see. See if I can get this from another angle. I'd like to have this initial color down so I can and let it sit. ME 109 cockpit. Let's see. It looks like there's a center divider on this big piece, like right through the middle. Let's confirm that before we go and it isn't there. Okay, it looks like the cross piece doesn't go on the corner. It goes down from the corner on both ends. So in other words, instead of it being all the way up there, it's going to go like so. All right, now what's the side where it has the... Where's the back of this? Okay, it is going to go across the back. And that's where the little antenna goes. The question is, there a split on that rear roof? You know, I want to get this right. It's important to me. There is a split. All right. Well, let's see. How can we grab that? Okay, so we have the initial paint color on all of these parts. The one that's in the back, the front one, the back one, and then the one that's going to be open off to the side. And of course, it's just in a really dark color. We'll wait for that to dry, and in the morning we'll come in and bring that up so it'll start popping. All right, folks, thanks for coming by. We'll see you guys on the next one. See ya.